Good afternoon and welcome to Match of the Day for the Milk Cup Final 1983 between Liverpool, the team of the last decade and chasing a hat-trick of wins in this competition, and Manchester United with a glorious, less recent history but a burning ambition to reproduce those halcyon days. For the fanatical support of their fans alone, a neutral would surely select this game as the perfect cup final. Your commentator, John Watson.
The two best supported clubs in the country contest the season's first major domestic prize. The fans have parted with over £1 million to see whether Liverpool can become the first club to win this competition 3 years running, or whether Manchester United can win just their second important trophy since 1968. A barren spell broken only by their FA Cup triumph here 6 years ago against Liverpool. Bob Paisley has brought Liverpool to Wembley for the 11th time in the last 7 seasons, but this looks like being his last visit as a manager, while Manchester United's Ron Atkinson, on the far side, is experiencing this walk for the very first time. A lovely afternoon at Wembley. There's a slight breeze, but the sun doing its best.
Det er præsentationen af Manchester Uniteds spillere, der i øjeblikket er i gang over for formanden for den engelske fodboldliga, Mr. DANISH, og andre personligheder fra den engelske fodboldliga. Og som de måske kan se, så har vejret der heldigvis forbedret sig. Solen er brudt igennem i ellers havl og sludtunge marskskyer. Og dermed skulle så rammen om denne pokalfinale være den absolut bedste. Og så skal der over på den modsatte side, der skal der hilses på Liverpool-spillere. Liverpool har vundet lodtrækningen om spilledragterne, og det vil sige, at Liverpool i dag får lov til at spille i deres normale trøjer, nemlig røde trøjer og røde bukser, mens Manchester United har måttet skifte, således at Manchester United i dag er i hvide trøjer og sorte bukser. Og det er anføreren Souness her, der præsenterer spillerne. Her kommer vi til Savidi, der står og venter på et håndtryk. Lille, stærke midtbanespiller. Og vi kunne måske benytte præsentationen til også at give dem holdene. Hos Liverpool er der kun én ændring fra kampen på Old Trafford, Manchester Uniteds bane for en måned siden, i det nemlig Allan Hansen er blevet klar til at overtage sin plads i centerforsvaret i stedet for Phil Thompson. Derfor stiller Liverpool med på mål nummer 1 Bruce Gobler, højre bak nummer 2 Phil Neal, og så nummer 4 Mark Lawrenson, nummer 6 Allan Hansen og nummer 3 Alan Kennedy. Det er det bagerste forsvar. Og på midtbanen nummer 8 Sammy Lee, nummer 10 Craig Johnson, nummer 11 Graham Souness og nummer 5 Ronnie Whelan. Og fremme har de så Kenny Dalglish med nummer 7 og Ian Rush med nummer 9. Og her hilses der på Bob Paisley, som er manager for Liverpool. Han er på Wembley for 12. gang med Liverpool. Han har været i Liverpool i 44 år. Og her har vi Ron Atkinson, manager for Manchester United. Han er her for første gang. Men tilbage til Bob Paisley. Han har været i Liverpool i 44 år. Han vandt som spiller mesterskab i 1947, men holdt op i 1954. Så blev han træner og senere assistent for Bill Shankly. Og som manager, siden han overtog det fra Bill Shankly, her er præsident Gwanda fra Zambia som tilskuer til kampen. Og vi får nu den engelske nationalmelodi, så skal jeg vende tilbage til Bob Paisley. Liverpool-tilhængere, de er hernede i den baneende, hvor Liverpool-spillere i øjeblikket løber ned. Altså nede over spillertunnelen. Det er til højre for vores kamera, og Manchester United-tilhængere er i den modsatte ende til venstre for vores kamera. Men altså for 12. gang er Bob Paisley på Wembley. Han har kun tabt en eneste gang, de 11 gange han har været tidligere, og det var den FA-pokalfinale, som netop Claus Borg talte om, og som vi viste billeder fra. Her har vi så holdopstillingen. Der er en ændring mere hos Liverpool i det. Reserven, 12. mand er David Fairclough. Sidste gang var det David Hodgson. Men ellers, det hold jeg nævnede, et meget stærkt mandskab. Og Bob Paisley for at få hans historie gjort færdig, mens vi har set det her med Manchester Uniteds hold. Luma Carey er 12. mand igen. Det var ham, der kom ind i stedet for Kevin Moran, da han blev skadet i kampen mod Liverpool i 1-1-kampen og måtte bæres ud og have sit ben med 10 sting og sit øje med 3 andre sting. Bob Paisley, han har 5 gange været med til at vinde mesterskabet til Liverpool, og de er jo nu godt på vej til mesterskab nummer 6. 3 gange Europapokalen på mesterhold. Her er Ray Wilkins anfører for Manchester United. Og 1 gang UEFA-pokal og 1 gang Supercupen. Men aldrig nogensinde har Bob Paisley været FA-pokalvinder med holdet som manager. Og det opnår han altså heller ikke, da Liverpool som sagt er slået ud af Brighton i FA-cupen. Og det er Bob Paisleys sidste sæson. Nu håber han så i stedet for, at det bliver til den 3. ligapokal-sejr i træk, efter de 2 foregående års sejre over West Ham og Tottenham. Her Bruce Grobbelaar, Manchester Uniteds målmand, født i Zimbabwe, som har spillet VM-kvalifikationskampe for. Han er 25 år. Han har været lidt ukonstant i denne sæson og kostede blandt andet kostbare mål mod det polske hold Wisław i Europapokalturneringen for mesterhold. Så kommer også, her har vi Ray Wilkins, anføreren for Manchester United, viser her på Graham Souness, anfører for Liverpool, skotsk landsholdsspiller. Dommeren hedder George Courtney.
A lovely afternoon at Wembley. There's a slight breeze, but the sun doing its best to come out, and it's certainly a dry and clear day, which has brought the fans, as usual, a capacity crowd, the fans down to Wembley to follow 2 of the country's greatest clubs. Liverpool play their expected side. The only man not to have played at Wembley before is number 10, Craig Johnston, and the substitute is David Fairclough, because David Hodgson has flu. For Manchester United, number 5, Kevin Moran, plays despite a depressed fracture of the cheekbone. He actually played Gaelic football at Wembley 7 years ago. But there are 3 players who've not played here before. 17-year-old Norman Whiteside at number 10, right back Mike Duxbury, and also number 4, Remy Moses. And in the absence of Brian Robson, a lot depends as captain and competitor on number 7, Ray Wilkins. 6 years ago, when these 2 clubs met in the FA Cup final here, Bruce Grobbelaar was playing in South Africa, and up against him in the same match was Gary Bailey. They've come an awful long way since then. Bob Paisley, unpretentious as always. Whereas his more extrovert counterpart, Ron Atkinson, will be determined to enjoy the day just as much. Indeed, already the jokes flying there on the United bench. The referee, George Courtney of Spennymoor, took charge of the 1980 FA Cup final here between Arsenal and West Ham. The colours are the reverse of the 1977 final. United today in white, playing from the left, and Liverpool in their familiar red. Manchester United have lost only 1 of their last 17 games. Here's Stapleton. And as United gain the first free kick, Gordon McQueen and Kevin Moran have made their way onto the edge of the penalty area, which is where they could be so dangerous. McQueen gets up and it ran on to Steve Coppell. But the feeling in the United team, as Coppell had the final shot, is that the presence at set plays of the 2 tall central defenders, especially Gordon McQueen, could unsettle Liverpool. Moran was forward also. Nice bright day. The pitch softened slightly by rain which has fallen over the last 48 hours. Although Liverpool felt if it had had a bit more rain on it, the pitch would have just suited them perfectly.
Angrebsfarlighed. Allermand. Og så offside på Ian Rush. Moran. Fløjte for frispark til Norman Whiteside. Samspil med Duxbury, men for langt. Mike Duxbury her er netop udtaget i bruttogruppen til det engelske fodboldlandshold, som på onsdag aften skal spille mod Grækenland i Europas kvalifikationsturneringen, hvor man jo er i samme gruppe som Danmark. Stærk center half og også meget offensiv, har lavet sine mål på hjørnespark, de fleste af dem. Sunes. Og akkurat indkast helt op og ned af hjørnesfladet. Olsson. Til Niel. Ian Rush. Han var ikke selv klar over, hvor fri han var. DANISH. Stapleton. Koppel. Den er lige ved at komme ind til Whiteside. Det siger dommeren. Så vi lige får en gang til venstre side. Høler. Dalglish. Ja, DANISH og Ian Rush er nok en farligere duet fremme end Whiteside Stapleton. Johnson. Ronnie Whelan der til at komme på skudhold. Sidste år lavede han 2 mål. Farlig her.
Just too much pace in that one for Alan Kennedy. Kennedy, who got the winner here 2 years ago in the European Cup final against Real Madrid. There's Souness, a man who really makes Liverpool tick. Rush is quick to intercept the early chance. Proof, if ever there was proof needed, of Ian Rush's ability in the penalty area. That fine shot just going up and over, but Rush has scored 29 goals this season and got 2 last Tuesday night against Brighton in the league. Tense opening moments for both sides. Kevin Moran is the one who's going to take this goal kick. Moran, who played here in 1976 with Dublin, playing Gaelic football. Craig Johnston. Koppel. Koppel has already decided to move across towards that left-hand side as we watch Craig Johnston, a player who almost defies description because he moves just about everywhere, not quite in keeping with the Liverpool pattern. Handsome. Finding Whelan. Mark Lawrenson and Phil Neal as Liverpool set into their regular and familiar pattern. That's not typical, as Souness gives that one away. Wilkins, as Norman Whiteside has taken down the free to United. Alveston up towards Stapleton. Stapleton seemed to have been pushed. The referee allowed the advantage. That got a touch. It's gone for a corner. Grobbelaar having a word there with his defence. United's defence is the best in the Football League. So far they've only conceded 24 goals. Murin's corner, punched away by Grobbelaar. Kennedy. Giving Souness a bit of work to do. Towards Dalglish, McQueen got the touch. Wilkins has come into the team, of course, for Brian Robson. Murin, who gives United a nice balance on that left-hand side. That's broken up by Phil Neal. One for Dalglish. He's got Ian Rush in the penalty area, but the angle was beating Dalglish. Hasn't scored in the Milk Cup so far this season. Wilkins has played in the last 6 league and cup matches for United. And the referee giving the throw to Manchester United. Moses. Remy Moses does a good job for Manchester United in midfield. That's gone for a goal kick. The man who really has become a vital part of the United team. Moses indeed has kind of done the job for them that Nobby Stiles used to in the 60s. Much attention will be on Wilkins this afternoon to get United motivated as we watch Kevin Moran. Souness. Well, he was looking for Rush. That's blockheaded away there by Gordon McQueen. Lawrenson to his centre-back partner, Handsome. And Souness was given some work to do. It's come kindly for Liverpool. Lee. Sammy Lee as far as Dalglish. And Dalglish runs straight into Wilkins. Neil. As United fall back, Liverpool come forward in the form of Ian Rush. Couple taken down by Whelan, and the referee George Courtney is quickly in there to speak to Ronnie Whelan. Whelan, who'll be joining up with the Irish party tonight here in London for their vital European Nations game in Malta on Wednesday evening next. McQueen looking for Whiteside, chested it down nicely and turned beautifully. Oh, that's a beautiful goal! Minutes gone in the first half, and Norman Whiteside on his debut at Wembley puts United one in front. A dream start for the young lad as Gordon McQueen set it up. And just watch how Whiteside took it down with all the assurance of a player double his age, beat off the challenge and put it past Grobbelaar. It's Manchester United 1, Liverpool 0. What a start for Manchester United. Couple. It's hard to think that just 12 months ago, Norman Whiteside hadn't even played in the First Division. Then 2 games at the end of last season, followed by an impressive World Cup campaign, really heralded this young man into the prominence of football. And United up at the other end were lucky. Gary Bailey's defence giving away the corner. It's often been said that Liverpool can be most dangerous when they go a goal behind. Whelan. Well, they came from a goal behind last season to win the Milk Cup. Can they do it again this year? Souness chipping it back. It beat the offside trap, but it didn't beat Mike Duxbury. Rush looking for space, but McQueen is allowing him nothing. Wilkins. Unfair challenge, says the referee. Free to Manchester United. Duxbury. Moses. Cut out by Mark Lawrenson. And that indeed is Whiteside's 3rd goal in the Milk Cup. He scored against Southampton and he scored against Arsenal in the semi-final. And he won't be 18 until May. Free to Manchester United, just inside the Liverpool half. Albiston knocked away by Lawrenson. 15 minutes gone. Wilkins has been caught on the ball twice already, but he's the kind of player who likes to play it square. Here's Coppell. Well, it's been said that one of the keenest tussles in this cup final could be between Alan Kennedy and Coppell. As we watch Bob Paisley, this is his 12th time to bring a team to Wembley. Murin. Arthur Albiston chipping it forward towards Frank Stapleton, almost knocking it down for Whiteside. Frank Stapleton has scored 15 goals in the First Division this season. Stapleton is certainly the player to look for. Muren. Here's Whiteside. And is Lawrenson, Moses. Stapleton that time seemed to be trying to make an angle for himself, but was clearly pushing one of the defenders. And there's no complaint about that decision. Referee George Courtney from Spennymoor in County Durham. A charge that time by Kevin Moran. Bob Paisley, who of course retires as Liverpool manager at the end of the season. Whelan. And away by Moran, who's really giving Dalglish no room. Lawrenson covering up well. Running straight into Stapleton. The two Republic of Ireland players prepared to have a very keen battle this afternoon. Hansen. Souness finds space, but he also finds Phil Neal. Gordon McQueen not standing on ceremony as that comes off Hansen's shoulder. Back to Lawrenson. Here's Craig Johnston. Souness. Liverpool building. Duxbury takes it down with all calm assurance. Mike Duxbury, who's just been called into the England squad by Bobby Robson. England, of course, playing here at Wembley on Wednesday against Greece. Free against Norman Whiteside. Rush. Kennedy. Dalglish. Not a good ball from Dalglish, giving it straight to Stapleton. Stapleton one on for Whiteside, but the flag was up for offside. And Rod Atkinson is certainly enjoying himself so far. Why wouldn't he, with his team 1 goal in front? Hansen. Square ball as far as Phil Neal. Seeking out Dalglish, but he's beaten in the air once again by Kevin Moran. Albiston. Norman Whiteside. Albiston setting one forward for Frank Stapleton. Lawrenson was the covering player. Minus the beard, but still with the tash. Moran doing some very fine covering at the back for United. Here's Hansen, such a good reader of the ball. Missed the League Cup final last year through injury. Lee, looking for Dalglish. Liverpool are content to be patient. "20 minutes gone in the Milk Cup final. Gordon McQueen beats Dalglish. Wilkins as far as Coppell. The flag up for offside against Frank Stapleton, but already it's quite clear that Stapleton and Whiteside are severely testing the Liverpool defence. Souness getting it back from Dalglish. It comes to Whiteside. Moses. Duxbury. Once again the flag was up for offside, not against Stevie Coppell but against Frank Stapleton. Here's Hansen. Rush. Laying one forward for Kennedy. And Koppel would seem to be having the better of that particular duel. Whelan. Souness has got Phil Neal outside him. Angling for the shot, giving it as far as Craig Johnson as Liverpool build. Rush is at the end of this one, so too is Whelan. A real let-off that time for Gary Bailey, as Ronnie Whelan had the chance to put Liverpool level. He knows it, but the calculations weren't quite right. Hansen. Souness. Looking for Lee. The Liverpool passing is a little bit slack this afternoon, or perhaps it's that Manchester United that little bit sharper. Wilkins. Between Koppel and Lawrenson. That's a throw. Steve Koppel, who's had 8 marvellous seasons at Old Trafford. Indeed, so much money has been poured into the Manchester United club that this would be their first success for many a long year, if you exclude the 1977 Cup final. Muren. Moran. Well, he was a little bit slack and casual. Ian Rush was in quickly. Good covering by Alveston. Souness. Dalglish feeds Whelan, back to Dalglish. Wasn't quite expecting it, and it comes to Arnold Muren. Giving it away to Kennedy. Good shot from Kennedy. A man who likes to take up good positions just outside the penalty area. That time Gary Bailey got behind the ball. Good keeping by the keeper they rate number 4 in Britain. Whiteside gets it the second time. Kennedy. Moran not standing on ceremony. Hansen beside him is Whiteside. The flag was up, it wouldn't have counted. But proof once again of just how sharp Whiteside can be as we watch Frank Stapleton. Whiteside still only 17 years of age. Lead. Whelan. Craig Johnston. And it's Arnold Muren who gets it away. Stapleton, 2 defenders beside him. One of them is Lee. That time the referee gives away the free against Stapleton. Whiteside makes his way back. Souness. Craig Johnston was almost in at the end of that one, and Alveston is the one who gets the touch and gives away the corner. Plenty of action at both ends. Dalglish is coming towards Hansen, and Gordon McQueen is the one who knocks it away, but only as far as Alan Kennedy. Sammy Lee. Neil. Dalglish, and beside him Albiston. Hansen. Well, that was a bit slack by Souness. It comes back to Whelan. And Duxbury is the one who gives away the throw. "27 minutes gone in the first half. Still 1-0 to Manchester United. McQueen out as far as Whiteside. Comes to Ronnie Whelan. Dalglish forward for Rush. And Rush managed to stop it from going out over the end ball line. Koppel. Hansen reads the game so well, takes up such good positions. Dalglish. Rush. Towards Souness. Wilkins. Duxbury. And the two Liverpool defenders there, Hansen and Lawrenson, almost getting in one another's way. The call's just not quite right. Stapleton feeds Koppel. Moses. Grobbelaar advances and catches cleanly. Neil. Souness. Ian Rush touches it down for Phil Neal. Dalglish, beside him Gordon McQueen. Here's Johnston. Phil Neal as Liverpool build and look so ominous. Kennedy, will he go for the shot? Well, he really fired it, but it was always going up and outside. It's Kevin Moran to take the goal kick. Muren. Craig Johnson. Beside him is Wilkins. Good running by Craig Johnston, but eventually he runs out of space. Johnston, who came to Liverpool from Middlesbrough, seemed to hurt himself that time. Bob Paisley is still nonplussed by it all. Beside him is Joe Fagan, one of the people who's been tipped to take over from Bob Paisley at the end of the season. The other side of Paisley there is Ronnie Moran. He's the Liverpool chief coach. A half an hour gone. Manchester United 1, Liverpool 0 in the Milk Cup final. Hansen. Sammy Lee, who's become an England international since he played here in last year's League Cup final. Dalglish. Whelan looking for an opening. Good header away that time by Lawrenson. Much of Ray Wilkins' passing is going astray in midfield. It's putting Liverpool back in possession. Hanson. Finding Kennedy. Good running by Whelan. Beside him is Remy Moses. Knocking it back for Rush. It was almost on target. And Kevin Moran was very quickly in that time to challenge Souness. Mike Duxbury stops it. The throw will be to United. On the far side, David Fairclough is warming up for Liverpool. Koppel. Dalglish. The referee's whistle has gone for a foul on Dalglish by Duxbury. He takes an awful lot of punishment. But he really is a very strong fellow and gets a fair quota of goals as well. Meanwhile, on the far side of that penalty area, Craig Johnson is down. It could well be that they're warming up David Fairclough as a precautionary measure. Interesting thing about Craig Johnson is that he was born in South Africa, could have opted to play for South Africa, or indeed for Australia where he grew up, or indeed for Scotland where his father comes from. Instead, he's opted to play for England. Remy Moses and Mike Duxbury get ready. And still Craig Johnston receives attention from Ronnie Moran. A fine shot here of Wembley. With the excitement generated by today's pairing, it's interesting to recall how the top clubs in England, in English football, were reluctant in the early years of the League Cup to get involved at all. But now, of course, winning means entry to the UEFA Cup, and that's a money spinner which can't be missed. Johnson's on his feet. And a free in a very dangerous position for Liverpool. Souness firing it in, but just outside. Well, he caught it beautifully, but it was just going about 2 feet outside the right-hand post. Wilkins knocking it forward for Whiteside. That time Whiteside wins the free, as Mark Lawrenson is the offending player. Norman Whiteside, the youngest player ever to play in the World Cup. Gordon McQueen has gone forward as Murin takes this one. It's coming towards McQueen's head, knocking it forward, but too far for Frank Stapleton. Moran built like a rock at the back. Wilkins. Duxbury. Koppel staying on side, so too was Norman Whiteside. But it was Lawrenson who gets it back to Grobbelaar. Rush and McQueen. Gordon McQueen hasn't put a foot wrong in the match, and when you consider that this time last year his career was in tatters, but now he's back at Wembley, and as well as that he's been offered a new 3-year contract by Manchester United. Murin makes the break as far as Koppel. Outside him he's got Duxbury. Wilkins makes himself available, so too Kevin Moran. Well, it was going a little slack, but Gary Bailey read it well. Neil. Johnston, Neil following up. Hanson. Dalglish has come out to make a bit of space for himself. Likes to run at defences. Duxbury read it well. Whelan took it down on the chest. Lee. Getting it back from Dalglish. As far as Ian Rush. Not quite making the connection. But the referee has given Liverpool the corner, saying it went off Kevin Moran. Moran doesn't agree. And so United have to face whatever danger this corner from Kenny Dalglish may bring. Hanson is in the area. Koppel. Kennedy robs him, but that's gone by for a goal kick to Manchester United. Seven minutes to go to half-time. The flag is up for offside against Whiteside. Whiteside, the goal scorer, after 12 minutes. Souness. Lawrenson. Good running by Dalglish, gives it to Kennedy. Whelan. Well, it was from a position like that in the Milk Cup final last year that Liverpool got their second goal. This time they get a corner as it goes off Ian Rush. Stapleton away as far as Souness. Whelan. And Kevin Moran was taking no chances. From this angle it looks so dangerous. Johnson would still appear to be limping. Moran really playing his heart out for Manchester United. Phil Neal wanting Murin to go back 10 metres. Here's Phil Neal, good run, no penalty. The referee says he took a dive. And I think Phil Neal was making the most of it. Whelan. Souness. That's Moran knocking it out only as far as Souness. The shot from Graham Souness. Much of Liverpool's good work is outside that penalty area. Here's Dalglish. Well, even top-name stars like Kenny Dalglish can do things like that in cup finals here at Wembley. And I don't think Bob Paisley is too happy. Good jump by Lawrenson. Gordon McQueen. Whiteside and Moses for United. With the free against Remy Moses. Graham Souness isn't at all happy. And certainly it's been Liverpool on the attack for the last 15 minutes. United have been content simply to soak up the pressure. but they've looked dangerous on the break. Here's Hansen. Dalglish keeps it in as far as Rush. Souness and Gordon McQueen. The two central defenders for Manchester United really playing well. Wilkins put the flag up for offside against Frank Stapleton. The crowd don't agree. They say that Stapleton was onside when the ball was played, and of course that's what's important. Arthur Albiston there as well. Souness. Kennedy. Whelan. Not going by Koppel. Moses. Waiting for support to come. It comes from Steve Koppel. Firing one forward for Whiteside. Powerful play by Mark Lawrenson. Rush. The control letting Ian Rush down. Albiston. Murin. Albiston kept moving. Beside him, Mark Lawrenson. Lawrenson, the player that Bob Paisley rates as his player of the season. Murin. Just outside the penalty area. Frank Stapleton taken down by Phil Neal. Saying he hadn't any alternative. But it presents Graham Wilkins with this free kick chance with just 2 minutes to go to the break. Leaving it to Murin. Stapleton. And Stapleton had eluded his marker and was given a free header. Grobbelaar once more having a word with his defence for a bit of slack marking. Johnston. At that time the referee saw that Lee was not getting an advantage. He blew the whistle a little bit late. Neal. Souness. Souness gives it away to United. Here's Whiteside. Such confidence for a player so young. Stapleton waiting for Murin to get in the box. Coming over to Koppel. Robbed by Kennedy. Whiteside that time adjudged to have pushed Phil Neal. Just 10 seconds of normal time in the first half remaining. Knocked on by Whelan. Duxbury. Finding Whiteside, well, almost. Hansen. Albiston looking for Whiteside. United look a little sharper in attack. Here's Moses. As far as Stapleton. Lining one up for Murin. It comes to Wilkins. Koppel. Straight at Grobbelaar. Good build-up by Manchester United. McQueen. And Albiston gives it back to Gary Bailey. A minute of injury time has been played by referee George Courtney. And there's the half-time whistle. An exciting first half in which Norman Whiteside scored the goal that gives United an interval lead. It promises to be an exciting and interesting second half. Score at half-time, Manchester United 1, Liverpool 0. Referee George Courtney gets the second half away, with Manchester United leading by 1-0. Kneel for Liverpool as Liverpool play from left to right. The referee allows the advantage. It'll be interesting to see just how Liverpool will play this second half. Interesting to see just what Bob Paisley will have said to them. Whiteside trying to lay it forward for Stapleton. Mark Lawrenson is so quick. Kenneth Kaunda is one of those people who's in the stand enjoying the game. Among the distinguished guests as we watch Liverpool attacking the goal to our right. Neil, taken down by Moses. Murin finds Duxbury. Dalglish setting up Kennedy. Rush makes a run into the penalty area. Kennedy holds, it comes off Wilkins. Corner kick, Liverpool. And Alan Kennedy is wondering, as we watch one of the flares that's come from the goal away to our left. That's in there among the United supporters. Up at the other end, United have this corner, Liverpool have this corner. Dalglish will be the taker. Bailey comes and collects confidently. Hanson. Neil. Fine distributor of the ball is Phil Neal. Johnston for Lee. Rush. And Gordon McQueen is keeping a very firm line where Ian Rush is concerned. Former Scottish international back to his best. And it's not very pleasant for the spectators up at that end of the ground. Johnston. Lee. Cannons off Alveston. Corner kick. Arthur Alveston makes his way to the near post. And Lee is ready to take it. Coming out to Souness, thought about a first-time shot, then took it down. Kennedy. Stapleton out first time. Souness tidying up. Moran's header very powerful, but doesn't come to anything. Dalglish. Whelan. Duxbury. Far as Whiteside. Runs straight into Kennedy. The throw will be to Duxbury. Duxbury advances, taken down by Dalglish. The referee allows an advantage. Couple seem to be offside. Stapleton shot, but the referee's whistle had gone. Yes, the linesman was just a little slow to raise the flag. In fact, he had the flag up for an earlier infringement. The referee overruled that. But this time, the referee acknowledges the linesman's signal. So away come Liverpool. Souness. Lee. Dalglish. Lee, as far as Rush, but the flag up for offside, this near side. But once again, a signal of the danger of Liverpool. Hanson. And the free is against Norman Whiteside, who was backing into Hanson. Yes, Hanson. Dalglish. Kennedy. Kennedy raids on the left-hand side. Whelan. Souness chips it forward towards Dalglish. Too much pace. And a goal kick to Manchester United. We haven't seen the best of Kenny Dalglish in this game at all. He's been very closely marshalled by the United rearguard. 5 minutes gone in the second half. Still Manchester United 1, Liverpool 0. Phil Neal. Rush. Johnston easily beaten that time by Arthur Albiston. Neal. Moses was careless. It comes to Whelan, and Liverpool should have made more of that chance. Whelan was presented with a chance from Remy Moses. It's a very confident start by Liverpool to the second half. Lee is fouled. Johnston flinging it over quickly. And the referee is going to speak to Norman Whiteside for that challenge on Whelan. And it's going to be a free to Liverpool. A hint of inexperience there from Whiteside. Kennedy's free. Powerfully headed away by Albiston. Comes to Whelan for Liverpool. Intercepted by Steve Coppell. That's a throw. Kennedy gets it back from Souness. Good jump once more by Duxbury. Remy Moses chips it forward towards Norman Whiteside. The referee decides that it's a throw. Souness. Lawrenson. Lee. Souness. Neal was following up, so too was Souness. Here's Kennedy. Once again thinking about the shot. Alan Kennedy, but very wide of target. Liverpool like to work it in a little bit closer than that. The 100,000 fans of both teams roaring on their support. And once again we see the marking at the back. Lawrenson and Hanson. It's Souness who gets there first. Duxbury knocking one forward for Coppell and for Stapleton. Neal. United are allowing Liverpool to come into their half, but that's as far as it goes. And Kevin Moran was the one who was in very heavily to challenge Dalglish. Ron Atkinson said this morning about Kevin Moran, he's the one player who never lets us down. Johnston gets it back to Phil Neal. Lee. Liverpool looking so menacing. Whelan with the header. Lee supply the cross. Koppel. Wilkins was making the break forward. Whiteside. Remy Moses is onside. He's got Frank Stapleton outside him. It's not a good ball. Alveston was following up, and here comes Craig Johnston, giving it to Lee for Liverpool. And suddenly it's Liverpool who are making the burst forward. Inside Craig Johnston, he's got Sammy Lee. Whelan, the knockdown to Kennedy. The shot. Well, Bailey didn't get a touch. The Liverpool players are saying that he did, but the referee is saying that it went just over the top. Gary Bailey's goal leading a charmed life in the first 11 minutes of this second half. Last year, you'll remember that Liverpool waited until 7 minutes from the finish against Spurs to get their equaliser. Souness. Rush knocks it back to Craig Johnston. Ian Rush. Souness. Liverpool playing very unruffled football, always calm and self-assured. And it starts again in the figure of Hansen. Dalglish probes an opening, and Bailey rescues it. It would have gone for a corner. Moran. Ronnie Whelan jumping high that time, but it comes to Mike Duxbury. Koppel. Good run by Duxbury. Good covering by Whelan. Wilkins. And Whiteside gets by. Looking for Stapleton. Lawrenson was the one who cut out the danger. He moves so quickly, but that time he seemed to move over the sideline, but of course, it's the ball that matters. Gordon McQueen. Alveston. Not a good ball from Wilkins, who's not having a good match. Here's Craig Johnston. Beside him is Murin. Gordon McQueen is holding his arm just to the right of the action there. Stapleton finds Alveston. One forward for Stapleton, but cut out by Phil Neal. A run on here for Dalglish. Nice control. Giving it to Rush, the chance of the equaliser. Well, Ian Rush had the chance to get his 30th goal of the season. He knows it, and so does Kenny Dalglish. Nice bit of play that time by Dalglish. Gordon McQueen is still holding that injured arm. McQueen, in fact, was fouled Dalglish, but the referee waved the play on. So justice, I suppose, was done. Stapleton finds Whiteside. Koppel. He's got Whiteside unmarked beside him. Koppel going it alone. It comes straight off Whelan. Corner to Manchester United. Stevie Koppel, who scored in every round of the Milk Cup except the 4th round. That was against Southampton. And making his way now in towards the penalty area. As usual, Arnold Muren takes the corner, looking for Moran's head. It gets a touch off Lawrenson, and Johnston will bring it free from danger. Good challenge by Koppel. It's a United throw with 15 minutes gone in the second half, and Manchester United still 1 goal in front. Kennedy setting Rush away, and he gets inside Duxbury. Rush with a shot. It seemed to get a touch off Duxbury. Yes, Duxbury has given away the corner. Kennedy, Wilkins, Phil Neal takes it down nicely. Such a good professional, Alan Kennedy. Beside him was Muren, towards Rush's head. Craig Johnston was raiding as well, so too Lee. And that got a ricochet across the area. Liverpool are looking so dangerous, and the player down on the deck looks like Arthur Albiston. It's either Arthur Albiston or Frank Stapleton. It's Arthur Albiston, I think. Referee George Courtney is going down to check matters. Bob Paisley reviews the situation. Albiston is the one who's injured. And United warm up Lou Macari. Well, Macari has played just about everywhere for Manchester United, including, incidentally, as a full-back. He played there 5 weeks ago when Kevin Moran had to go off against Liverpool. Macari has only played 2 full matches for Manchester United this season. And don't forget that when he came on as sub, he laid on the goal for Frank Stapleton in the match against Everton. As we watch that incident again, there's Albiston taking a knock from Craig Johnston. He's on his feet. The physio there is Jim McGregor. McGregor, who accompanied the Northern Ireland party to Spain last summer, making sure that Arthur Albiston's okay. He looks pretty dazed. Play continues. Albiston is back on. Dalglish. Well, he tried the first time shot because he saw that Gary Bailey was about 7 or 8 yards off his goal line. Muren knocking one forward for Stapleton. Beside him, Lawrenson. Back it comes to Muren. Wilkins. Bad ball from Wilkins. Kennedy and Koppel, and it's going to be a throw to Liverpool. And so many of Ray Wilkins' square passes this afternoon have gone astray. Souness, Moses, Wilkins losing it, Moses recovering. It comes to Whelan. It's a little untidy just at the moment. And Sammy Lee will start it all again for Liverpool. Their build-up, as usual, is patient. They're waiting to probe an opening. Here's Souness, the captain. Phil Neal, a little too high for Rush. Liverpool prefer to walk that ball in towards the area rather than try to lob balls forward towards Ian Rush in the air. In fact, of all the goals that Ian Rush has scored, he's only scored 2 with his head. Wilkins plays it forward, but Koppel's offside. The United fans don't agree, claiming that Koppel had timed his run properly, but the linesman was the person who had the best view. Rush. Dalglish back to Souness. Murin makes it difficult. Lawrenson takes no chances. "20 minutes gone in the second half. Koppel. Wide side. Moses. Waiting for support. Murin. Grobbelaar commits himself and takes it down cleanly. The first time delivery then going astray. Bruce Grobbelaar, who had a very searching baptism in the First Division last season. Whelan finds Rush. Inside him, Dalglish. Trying to go by Kevin Moran and succeeding. Rush and Dalglish are beginning to make their presence felt for Liverpool. Neil. And that's Kevin Moran there, who's down on the ground, who seemed to twist an ankle as he took that ball away. He's still on the ground as we follow the play. Here's Phil Neal. And it's looking bad for United's Kevin Moran now. He's not a player who stays down when there isn't anything seriously wrong with him. United effectively down to 10 men. Hansen. Rush. Dalglish. And United will be glad of the break to get attention for Kevin Moran. Moran, one of the toughest players in the First Division, has had so much trouble with injuries this season. And it really would be a sickener for United and for Ron Atkinson here if they were to lose Kevin Moran. But he looks pretty happy, and why wouldn't he be? His first time to take United to Wembley. And United 1 goal in front. Bob Paisley with the cap. Obviously not terribly happy with the way Liverpool have been playing of late. Atkinson is on his feet. Kevin Moran is on his feet, but he looks a bit groggy. He overstretched himself when he was going for that ball. Jim McGregor, the physio, is beside him. So too Graham Wilkins. And it looks as though Lou Macari is about to come on. And this is really a very bad blow for Manchester United. Moran wants to stay on, but he's only limping back into his position. We watch Macari. Kevin Moran wants to stay put, but it looks as though he's going to have to go. An unhappy debut with Manchester United at Wembley. And everybody in the stand on their feet to salute this fine player. And it's a bad blow also, of course, for Ireland. Kevin Moran would have been a vital part of the Ireland set-up in Malta on Wednesday. So Lou Macari is preparing to come on. The change hasn't been made yet. I think Kevin Moran would have been prepared to try his luck, but there's no way you can do that in a cup final, especially against a team like Liverpool. So Macari is on, and this will be the 27th time that Lou Macari has been used as a substitute this season by Manchester United. They'll reshape the defence. Macari has gone to right back. Duxbury is in the middle. Whelan for Liverpool. Dalglish off Koppel. And for just a few minutes, the position will be very dangerous for Manchester United as they find their composure with 25 minutes gone in the second half. United, remember, leading by 1-0. Lawrenson to Lee. Coming back towards Sammy Lee, good challenge by Wilkins, but Lee is a tenacious little player. Dalglish across the area, gets the second chance. They're queuing up at the far post for it. Whelan, outside him is Kennedy. Macari, the makeshift right back. And Bailey has to commit himself. Gary Bailey hasn't been seriously tested in this match so far. Whiteside, a nice knock forward for Stapleton. Beside him is Hanson. But it goes astray and comes to Kennedy. Lou Macari. Moses. The flag up for offside against Whiteside. Norman Whiteside, no doubt enjoying himself here at Wembley. And Macari is trying to slot into his new position. Souness. Dalglish finds a space, comes back to Whelan. The chip forward. Stapleton holds nicely and then gives it to Wilkins. Norman Whiteside has made a run. Off Lawrenson. And the danger comes to nothing. Hasn't been the best of afternoons for Ray Wilkins. Dalglish giving it to Kennedy. Souness. Phil Neal is outside him. Instead it goes to Rush. Alveston and United just for a moment or two have lost their composure and they're just booting it out of defence. Neal. Rush. Craig Johnston. Mike Duxbury is taking over the goal kicking. Alveston with the throw. Murin. Between Lawrenson and Stapleton. And the free goes to Liverpool. Souness. Kennedy. Nice challenge by Koppel. And Kennedy will now try to find a bit more room down that flank. Souness. Intended for Lee, but it comes instead to Stapleton. Outside him here to Arthur Alveston. Wilkins. Giving Macari some work to do, and he gives away the throw to Liverpool. Kennedy seeking Souness. Phil Neal raiding on the right-hand side. Murin was in with the challenge. Wilkins. Johnston for Liverpool. Lee. Kennedy. Rifling one in, and it's there! They're level! 30 minutes gone in the second half. And Alan Kennedy gives Bob Paisley some hope with that equalising goal. It's been on the cards for some time. Grobbelaar is relieved. Last year, Liverpool waited until 7 minutes from the end. This time, 15 minutes from the end, they've drawn level. This was the shot, and that's how it finished, just outside Gary Bailey's reach. It's Liverpool 1, Manchester United 1. All to play for. Lawrenson, and Grobbelaar keeps it in play. Well, Alan Kennedy has scored some famous goals for Liverpool, and that's another one of them. It's his first goal in this year's Milk Cup, but what a vital goal it is. Couple. Paisley now is back to his old self, shouting instructions. We've got some cup final on here at Wembley now. Wilkins, Albiston, Lee for Liverpool, Craig Johnston, and outside him is Ian Rush. Johnston is inside, trying to clip it back, and it's Albiston who gets it away. The referee's whistle goes as Gordon McQueen and Ray Wilkins are down and needing attention. Wilkins is on his feet, but he looks a little distressed. Souness also getting attention there from Ronnie Moran. And Jim McGregor, the physio for Manchester United, this time has to treat the other centre-back, Gordon McQueen. Problems now for Ron Atkinson. And of course, United have already used their sub as David Fairclough warms up for Liverpool. The Liverpool fans on the goal away to our right, enjoying themselves now. But it's looking oh so difficult for Manchester United. And it really would be bad if Gordon McQueen had to go off. They'd then be missing their two centre-backs. And also, of course, they'd be down to 10 men. Well, what a pity. One might ask the question whether the mercy machine has finally ground down the United flair. Relentlessly, Liverpool have been pushing forward, never losing their cool, always remaining composed. And they play with that kind of assurance typified by Sammy Lee. Paisley is in there making instructions. The United bench just to his right, looking a little disconsolate. McQueen is on his feet, but looking a little groggy. It certainly has been a baptism of fire for Ron Atkinson in his first match here as United manager in a Wembley Cup final. All kinds of experts have been giving the opinion that were United, this particular team, to win a trophy, it could be the start of many. McQueen, as you can see, is back with the action, and so are we. Wilkins holding off Ian Rush. Ten and a half minutes to go to the end of normal time. Lee. Johnston. Giving it to Dalglish. Lee. Sammy Lee seeking out Graham Souness. Johnston. And the final cross just going outside. Goal kick to Manchester United. So trouble now really for Manchester United. In the space of 5 minutes, Moran has gone. So too has their lead, and there must be a question mark about Gordon McQueen, while Liverpool still have Fairclough in rescue. Neil. Cut off by Albiston. Murin. Moses Wilkins. Hanson. Knocking one forward, but too far for Ian Rush. Albiston. Koppel. Albiston has some space. And David Fairclough prepares to come on. He came on as a sub in the Milk Cup final. Well, it was then the League Cup final of 1978 when Liverpool were beaten by Nottingham Forest. Souness. Rush that time was holding on Stapleton. And the free will be to Manchester United. And Liverpool are ready to make a change. Craig Johnston will be the one to go, and David Fairclough, when we get a break in play, will be the one to come on. Stapleton knocking it wide nicely to Albiston. Murin following up. Running into a very sturdy challenge from Sammy Lee. What amazing enthusiasm and energy that Lee possesses. Koppel. Wilkins. Once again, Ray Wilkins rather, gives away the throw as Craig Johnston, who was limping early on, makes his way off. And David Fairclough, the man that Liverpool almost sold to Brighton early in the week, comes in with 7 minutes remaining. Fairclough, the super sub, can he be the one to bring the cup back to Anfield? Phil Neal. Macari knocked it wide. Dalglish firing one in. It's going towards Bailey. The challenge was very strong from David Fairclough. Whiteside all on his own. And Alan Kennedy was the one who rescued Liverpool, but he was fouled by Whiteside. Referee's whistle has gone, and the referee is going to speak to Norman Whiteside, and in fact Whiteside becomes the first player to be booked in the Milk Cup final. Well, he certainly seemed to take his name. Whelan. The flag had been up for offside against Fairclough. So the question now must be, as Ron Atkinson fires out instructions. Can United make it at least to the end of normal time? Because they're coming under all kinds of pressure from Liverpool. Dalglish turns nicely away from Moses. Fairclough, his first touch. Throw to Manchester United. 5 minutes of normal time remaining. Souness. Lee. Ian Rush was raiding once more that time. But it's Manchester United on the counter-charge. Wilkins as far as Koppel. Hanson getting it back from Whelan. Gordon McQueen has moved forward, and Duxbury and Frank Stapleton are the ones who are back manning the centre-back positions. An indication of just how desperate it's become for Manchester United. McQueen can only hobble around as a makeshift centre-forward. Here's McQueen. Beside him is Souness. Well, he did well to get it as far as Koppel. Koppel. The referee had given the advantage, but Norman Whiteside wasn't able to do anything with it. Here's Liverpool. Good tackle by Remy Moses on Dalglish. Lee finds Neil. Liverpool coming, looking for a winner. An overhead kick by Whelan, but just outside. Well, the man who was Young Player of the Year here in England last season has done his bit for Liverpool in their second half recovery, but it's looking bad for Gordon McQueen, who's now Manchester United's centre forward. Good jump by Whelan, down as far as Macari. Koppel. Souness. Hanson. With 2 minutes remaining. Whelan leaves it for Kennedy, the man who scored Liverpool's equaliser. Hanson for Whelan. Back to Hanson. And Liverpool are prepared just to keep ball. McQueen breaks up that arrangement, and it comes to Whiteside. Wilkins darts over it, leaving it for Murin. McQueen, but he hasn't really got the legs at this stage. He thought it should have been his throw. The referee has given the throw instead to Liverpool. A minute remaining. And the sides are all square in the Milk Cup final. Lee. Interesting that in Liverpool's 2 previous successes in the League Cup in the last 2 years, they also had to go to extra time. And in the game the year before last, of course, it went to a replay. That was against West Ham. Rush. Back to Dalglish with 15 seconds remaining. Fairclough, and it's Stapleton who gives away the corner. The pressure is on Manchester United. Lee with this corner in time added on for injuries. And there'll be a couple of minutes. Neil. Wilkins for Manchester United. Koppel, who's played well. Murin. Here's Wilkins, but unable to control it. Kennedy, one forward for David Fairclough. The two number 12s. Macari does well. And what an interesting defence Manchester United have right now, with Lou Macari at right back and Frank Stapleton at centre back. Alveston. Duxbury. Koppel and Lawrenson. Koppel almost having a match-winning chance in injury time. Kennedy. Fairclough. A minute and a half gone of injury time. Koppel giving it to Murin. Koppel, one last chance in normal time before we head for extra time. Whiteside! And he almost had the chance of wrapping it up for Manchester United. Well, what a sensational winner that would have been for Norman Whiteside. And Bruce Grobbelaar can laugh about it now. Souness. Souness towards Fairclough's head. Headed out by Macari. Koppel back to Moses. Macari. They were all onside. Phil Neal had played them onside. Gordon McQueen taken down by Grobbelaar. Well, Grobbelaar really had to commit himself that time. He's injured. Phil Neal had played the entire Liverpool defence onside. And the Liverpool coach there, Ronnie Moran, having a word with Grobbelaar, but I don't think he was too happy with Gordon McQueen's part in the incident. Well, that's, I suppose, what's called a professional foul. We'll see the incident once more. Grobbelaar advanced, he committed himself completely, and then followed through on Gordon McQueen. McQueen is still down. The referee, I think, is going to have a word with Bruce Grobbelaar. And at least it deserves a booking, if not indeed a sending off. Well, it's a booking, I think. No yellow cards involved. That's the second player we've seen booked in the second half. 4 minutes of injury time played. Free to Manchester United as Gordon McQueen hobbles into the penalty area. Atkinson wonders whether this can be it. Wilkins wants Dalglish back 10 yards. Here's the free. Stapleton Didn't manage to get to it. Hansen takes it away. It comes back to Duxbury. It's breaking for Rush. Ronnie Whelan with a chance to wrap it up. And Alveston was the one who got the vital touch. Arthur Alveston keeps United in this cup match. It'll be a corner. Dalglish and Rush. That time Rush had Dalglish inside him, but the pass intercepted as the final whistle goes after 5 minutes of injury time had been played, and so it goes to extra time. Alan Kennedy's goal after 75 minutes brings us in to extra time.
Ingen indflydelse på tipstegnet. Tipstegnet er og bliver kryds i kamp nummer 1, er det vist nok Liverpool-Manchester United. Og jeg kan lige sige, at Bruce Grobbelaar har lige været hen og trykke Gordon McQueen i hånden og sige undskyld for sin grove tackling, men det hjælper så lidt, hvis nu Gordon McQueen er alvorligt skadet her til omkampen. Bob Paisley har endnu chancen for at få endnu en Wembley-triumf med sig hjem. Men i øvrigt så er det tredje gang, disse to klubber mødes på Wembley. De tidligere gange var begge i 1977. Det er meningen, der nu skal være 5 minutters pause inden de 2 gange 15 minutters forlænget spilletid. Spillerne skal have lov til at komme lidt til hægterne efter disse hårde 90 minutters spil. Der er ingen tvivl om, det er taget på konditionen, og man kan jo også mærke det på spillerne her mod kampens slutning. Der er ikke den samme fart over den mere, og det forstår man udmærket godt. Noget spilles fight fra Manchester Uniteds side. Masser af spil, pres fra Liverpools side, men uden at kunne lukke Manchester United forsvaret op. Men som sagt, det er tredje gang, de her to klubber mødes på Wembley. Vi har nævnt i 77, da Manchester United vandt FA-pokalfinalen med 2-1. Og så mødtes de selvfølgelig senere, samme år, 3 måneder senere, der mødtes de i den såkaldte Charity Shield mellem mesterhold og pokalvinder, og der spillede de uafgjort, nemlig 0-0. Men det ser ud til, at dommeren allerede er ved at kalde spillerne på banen. Her er Ron Atkinson, manager, sammen med sin anfører Ray Wilkins, og her Bob Paisley. Hvad betaler tilskueren de 100.000 tilskuere for at være her i dag?
So for the 7th time in the 23-year history of the League Cup, now the Milk Cup, the final goes into extra time. Gordon McQueen, one of United's walking wounded, against the Liverpool machine. And it's 15 minutes each way in the sunshine of Wembley, with the Liverpool supporters in very fine voice behind the goal away to our right. It'll be Liverpool to kick off. Referee George Courtney checks with Gordon McQueen. And Wilkins is hobbling back towards the centre-back position, but I don't think he's going to be risked in that position. Yes, McQueen is coming forward. In fact, he's going to start the extra time. So United play in extra time from left to right in the first period. Stapleton, the makeshift centre-back. Frank Stapleton finding Wilkins, and it runs loose as far as Hansen. Lawrenson. Hansen finding Kennedy. Dalglish inside, looking for David Fairclough's head, but just about 2 inches over the top and out for a goal kick. Alveston's goal kick comes straight to Whelan. Macari nips in quickly. Souness, Dalglish and Rush. Duxbury. Koppel, who's done a lot of good defending as well as a lot of good attacking. Wilkins gets it back from Whiteside, then tries the return pass, but intercepted by Lawrenson. Lawrenson has such pace. One assumes indeed now with the injury to Kevin Moran that Lawrenson and David O'Leary will be the centre-back partnership for Ireland on Wednesday in Malta. Meanwhile, here's Kennedy for Liverpool. Whelan. Knocking one back for Souness. Dalglish wants to play the 1-2 with Fairclough, but it comes to Muran. Good long ball as far as Whiteside. Lawrenson looking so assured. Dalglish. It's 3 against 3. A chance for Liverpool, a chance for Dalglish. Good save by Gary Bailey. Dalglish with a chance of putting Liverpool in front, but Bailey got the body right behind it. Wilkins. Duxbury, who's also playing centre-back alongside this man here, Frank Stapleton. Koppel. Wilkins. Koppel. The first time cross into the area, cut out by Grobbelaar. Lee, revelling in the open spaces on that far side. Rush with Albiston in close attention, so too Moses. Good strong work here by Ian Rush, beaten eventually by Moses. Giving it to Gordon McQueen. Souness, not a good ball. Stapleton picking it up here from Bailey. Interesting to see Frank Stapleton playing as a defender. But what a great pity it is that Stapleton's ability can't be used up front for United as Liverpool come raiding. Dalglish. Duxbury is beside him. Finding Moses. Wide outside him, he's got Muran. Arnold Muran hasn't really contributed an awful lot to this game for Manchester United. He has an awful lot more to give, I think. Here's Moses. We're watching Muran. Kennedy, cushion heading it down for Whelan. The first time by Dalglish to Rush, but offside. The flag up very quickly. The referee acknowledges it. But an indication of the way Kenny Dalglish likes to play the game, with lightning pace. Faces on the bench, issuing instructions, but those feet are very weary and very tired out there at the moment. Wembley is looking a bit heavy, and it's certainly taking the most of these players. Good challenge there by Hanson. Wembley, of course, always saps up energy. The throw by Macari. Whiteside adjudged to have backed into one of the defenders as Liverpool come away with Mark Lawrenson finding Rush. Lawrenson again. The early ball to Dalglish. Whelan is inside him. Dalglish has got Souness. It just goes too far for Souness. Lawrenson, and Stapleton is the one who takes it off Whelan's head. Frank Stapleton using his aerial advantage in the Manchester United penalty area, but a good cross from Stapleton, from Lawrenson. Kennedy. Back to Souness. Off Wilkins. Not cleared. Lee in there, and eventually Albiston has to tidy up. Seven minutes of the first period of extra time gone, and it's still 1-1. The bounce deceives Phil Neal, and it comes to Gordon McQueen. Going off Lawrenson for the throw to United. McQueen just hobbling around. Here he is again, beside him is Souness. Whiteside looking for his second goal, and Lawrenson eventually gets it away. It comes to Lee. Whelan. Hanson. First time ball for Rush. Not killing it quite accurately enough, and Stapleton relieves the danger for United, but only momentarily. Kennedy. Lee. Dalglish. Neal. Dalglish kept moving, two defenders beside him, and he still managed to get in a telling header. Meanwhile, Mark Lawrenson is now hobbling about a bit. It certainly has been the day of the wounded at Wembley. Lee. Dalglish unmarked for once. The shot cannons off Macari. Kennedy maintains the pressure. Whelan straight into Stapleton. Whelan has done it! Nearly 9 minutes of extra time gone, and Ronnie Whelan puts Liverpool in front. Relieved faces on the bench. Whelan repeats what he did last season. Just watch how this got a ricochet off Frank Stapleton. It came back to Whelan. He touched it and into the top corner, floating it over Bailey. Whelan, Liverpool's match winner perhaps, as Liverpool go 2-1 in front. So now the pressure really is on Manchester United. They can sing on the goal away to our right, the Kop in exile, enjoying themselves and enjoying every minute of this League Cup final. Whelan seems to reserve his best for Wembley. Paisley must be thinking that this is going to be one of his days. In his time with Liverpool, he's won 12 major championships, and this is looking like being number 13 now. Can Gordon McQueen upset that? Beside him, Phil Neal. One has to credit Gordon McQueen. Injured or not, he certainly has played to his utmost. As Lawrenson wins the throw. Sammy Lee will be the taker. Kennedy. Kennedy looks for his options, and one of those is Hanson. Grobbelaar thumps it forward. Fairclough is in at the end of it and almost put it Liverpool 3-1 in front. David Fairclough, that time almost profiting by Grobbelaar's long ball, as Liverpool are prepared to test the Manchester United central defenders, probing for weaknesses. Wilkins. Lee. Wilkins finds Stapleton. Atkinson there, off his feet for just a moment to issue some more instructions to his team. But they really have an uphill battle now. Kennedy flinging one forward, and Rush was offside. But it's interesting the way Liverpool have altered their style with just 2 minutes of this first period of extra time to go. They're playing more direct football. They're ready to search any weaknesses that United will obviously have at the back. McQueen. Whiteside's in the penalty area. Takes it on the chest, reminiscent of the goal he scored. Koppel looking for support, getting it from Albiston. It got a touch. It's gone for a corner. A good run by Arthur Albiston. Well, he scored one goal earlier in the year in the League Cup. That was against Bradford. And of course he scored last week against Brighton in the league. It'll be Muren's corner. Coming towards Gordon McQueen's head, and Grobbelaar has to get it at the second attempt. Fairclough, as Manchester United get back quickly, but just how quickly will be tested now as Kennedy feeds Dalglish. The block tackle there from Duxbury. Dalglish and Macari, that'll be a free to Liverpool. Macari says that it was simply an accident, that Dalglish ran into him. Well, Dalglish over the year, of course, has to cope with many defenders and many tough situations, and he's a pretty tricky operator himself. Here's Souness. The whistle goes for the end of the first period of extra time. Ronnie Whelan puts Liverpool in front, and it's all to play for still, with the second period to go in this year's Milk Cup final.
Ud på styrkende midler, og anden, der skal bare skifte side. Og det er jo længst for de to målmænd, som skal i modsatte ende af banen. Jeg kan se, at Ron Atkinson er på vej ind på banen for at sige noget til sine spillere. Det er Gordon McQueen, der har det rigtig skidt. Og nu får han åbenbart ordre om at gå tilbage i forsvaret. Skønt han jo, som de kan se, næsten ikke kan humpe afsted. Lidt risikabelt, men på den anden side han er jo heller ikke nogen farlig mand fremme. Og det gælder om nu, det er jo altså for Manchester United at få et mål, og så må man have hurtige, levende angriber fremme. Men en langsom centerforsvar kan jo også godt være farligt. Liverpool-tilhængere, det der. For en dejlig tur hjem til Liverpool. Og bus eller tog. Stapleton igen fremme på sin vante angriberplads som spydspids. Der vil lige en kolossal arbejdskraft. Lidt kræfter er der tilbage i Gordon McQueen endnu.
So Stapleton has gone back up front. It's really going to put pressure, however, on McQueen and Duxbury, the centre-back pairing. Hansen with all the time in the world. Kennedy running strongly past Moses, and Moses recovered. Duxbury in some trouble over there, but calmly and assuredly getting it away, but only as far as Dalglish. Fairclough is free, trying to touch it down to Rush. It comes to Duxbury. Well, not a good pass by Mike Duxbury, who will of course be hoping to be back here on Wednesday night for England against Greece. Liverpool calming things down again now, and it's United who are forced to defend. Well, the problems now for Manchester United, as you see, Macari is having to mark Rush. Dalglish. Dalglish just seemed to kick that one out. The crowd didn't like it one little bit. Certainly time will have elapsed, but the referee is having a word with him and telling him, well, that's not quite the way to play a cup final. The header by Whelan. Moses. Kennedy. Souness as far as Phil Neal. Phil Neal with the ice-cool temperament. What a fine distributor he is. Well, it looks a little unsporting, but Liverpool are doing what they do best, just keeping ball, holding possession. That way they won't be giving away any chances. But here's Koppel. One forward for Whiteside. Lawrenson, did it go over the dead ball line? Yes, says the linesman. Corner to Manchester United. McQueen makes his way into the penalty area. Oh, waiting for the ball to be recovered. And a second one is coming in. With 4 minutes gone in the second period of extra time. Murin comes out to Koppel again. Beside him, Dalglish. Booted away first time by Souness, but straight to Albiston. Wilkins. Stapleton is onside. Whiteside is at the end of this one. So too is Wilkins. They seem to touch it with the arm. It comes out to Murin. Goal kick to Liverpool. Well, Manchester United aren't finished yet. And that's McQueen who made his way up for that one. Ten minutes remaining. 10 minutes for Manchester United to get themselves back in the match. Murin heading it down to Stapleton. Giving it away to Neal. Here's Dalglish. Finding Fairclough. Away at the far side, Fairclough has got Rush if he decides to opt for him. Trying the shot himself, but firing it straight at Bailey. The hop beats Kennedy. Whiteside knocks it on towards Koppel. Lawrenson and Hansen back there. Moses. Macari is beaten for it by Kennedy, driving it forward for Fairclough. A chance to wrap up the Milk Cup final. Well, David Fairclough should have done better with that one. The goal at his mercy, and instead he drives it wide. And Paisley isn't one bit happy with it. Hansen. Giving it to Lawrenson. Coming down towards Lee. Souness getting it from Fairclough. Out to Lee. Phil Neal. What a pity Liverpool have gone back in this defensive pattern. Albiston getting it back from Murin towards Stevie Coppell. Souness beaten by Stapleton. Moses square to Wilkins, looking for support outside him, getting it now from Duxbury. And the first time pass by Duxbury goes astray. And indeed, as we watch Duxbury go back into his position, Arthur Albiston is having a bit of trouble back in defence also, possibly from cramp. Seven and a half minutes remaining. McQueen. Souness puts Duxbury in a bit of trouble, but gets himself out of trouble quickly. The throw to Liverpool. Wilkins. McQueen. And Murin is forced to belt it away for a corner. Murin realising that Gordon McQueen couldn't really turn on that one properly, was lacking the control, suffering from the injury. And so it's a corner to Liverpool. Stapleton goes back into a defensive position. Phil Neal lurks on the edge of the area. And Sammy Lee is the one who takes it. Way towards David Fairclough's head, beaten by Gordon McQueen. And Moses thumps it away into the centre circle, where it's picked up by Lawrenson. Lee keeps it in. Phil Neal, too far forward. Goal kick to Manchester United. 6 minutes remaining. And as Manchester United attack in the form of Albiston towards Whiteside, Whiteside suffering from cramp. Fairclough off the goalkeeper, and Fairclough is in again. Well, that's twice in the space of about 3 minutes that David Fairclough had a chance to put Liverpool into a commanding position, and Gary Bailey saves him that time. Whelan. Souness. And Souness just played that one outside, gives away the throw. Well, what a good save that was from Gary Bailey. He's played well here with just 5 minutes remaining. Coppell. Lawrenson takes him down. It'll be a free to Manchester United. The referee has a very quick word with Lawrenson. No question of a booking. So they're all up for this one. Murin will be the taker. Duxbury is the only defender. Towards Gordon McQueen. It was always angling over the top from the time it left McQueen's head. But he really has had a fine game here at Wembley in the Milk Cup final, though suffering from that injury. Muren. Muren towards Koppel. Lawrenson was the defender. Well, play really in extra time has got particularly scrappy. But I think a lot of it is down to tiredness with 4 minutes remaining. Stapleton. Macari comes in to make Grobbelaar release it quickly. Rush. Too far forward for Fairclough. Wilkins gets Moses. An offside flag up against Stapleton. Lawrenson's free. Knocked away by Duxbury. Moses picking it up. Whelan beside him. But it's gone for a throw to Liverpool. McQueen now looking a bit dejected. Kennedy. Whelan. Rush. And rather than give it back to the goalkeeper, McQueen typifying the Manchester United spirit. But Lawrenson standing firm at the back. That's going to be a United throw going off Dalgleish. Two minutes to go. And Liverpool still leading by that Ronnie Whelan goal in extra time, leading by 2-1. Whelan has done his bit. Bailey. Bowling it away as far as Moses. As we're into the last minute of play. Duxbury. Hanson. Whelan takes it down nicely. Here's Rush. Can he wrap it up for Liverpool? Whelan is making a run, but Duxbury does the covering. Well, he had a chance that time of either scoring on his own or touching it back for Whelan. But Mike Duxbury here, who played last season in midfield, this year has taken over from John Gidman. Very fine defender, and great things I know are expected of him in the future. Comes to Kennedy. Souness. Whelan makes the run into the penalty area. Kennedy. Kennedy looking for his second goal of the match. Whiteside. As we're into injury time in extra time. Referee looking at his watch. And there can't be very much time left as Dalglish takes that throw to Kennedy. Rush. And back there beside him is Duxbury. Duxbury gets the free. The crowd, the Liverpool fans, tense and expectant, waiting for that final whistle. Whelan. Neil. Fairclough was onside. A chance now to make amends for those two earlier slips. And there's a third glaring chance, which Bob Paisley is prepared to soothe and say, forget all about it, the match is almost over. But really, David Fairclough should have made it 3-1. There's the final whistle. Jubilation for Liverpool as Ron Atkinson commiserates
Ronnie Whelan is their match winner for the second year running. Alan Kennedy has scored a goal at Wembley in this competition for the second final in 3 years. A brave and valiant effort by Manchester United, whose forces were depleted by injuries to Moran and McQueen. They reorganised, they never gave up the fight, but Liverpool, despite not playing at times to their own high standards, were always fitter and always stronger in extra time. On Milk Cup final day, the losers go up first to receive their medals, and there'll be a tremendous ovation for Manchester United, led by Ray Wilkins. And there'll be a few people wondering what might have happened, with no disrespect to Ray, had Brian Robson been fit to play, and had Gordon McQueen and Kevin Moran stayed the distance. And so Liverpool's acquisition of prizes goes on. And what a good idea to let Bob Paisley, in his last season as manager, on his last visit to Wembley in that capacity, what a nice touch that he should lead the team up. I'm sure the players, among others, insisted upon that. This man has won 19 major prizes, and he finishes up, quite rightly and properly, as a winner. And all Bob will say, I'm sure, is thanks to his players, and the championship is still to come. One of the most emotional moments, surely, in recent Wembley history. Bob Paisley, universally liked throughout the game, takes the cup ahead of his captain, Graham Souness. A marvellous moment, that, and one fully deserving of a club that have always believed in doing the right thing at the right time. Well, he's made a little bit of history there, Bob Paisley. I'm sure the manager has never gone up before ahead of the captain to receive a trophy, but it couldn't happen to a more respected figure in football. And Graham Souness, I'm sure of it, all the other players, as the captain, keen to see Bob Paisley enjoy this moment. Liverpool, winners of this competition, 3 years running. That in itself is a record for a club who go on acquiring one prize after another. Well tested today by Manchester United, but again Liverpool's ability to stay the course is the key factor on the big occasion. One remembers the significance when Bill Shankly, the late Bill Shankly, walked off Wembley for the last time as a manager. And today Bob Paisley, who succeeded him against Bob's better wishes at the time in 1974, today he makes that walk in that capacity for what is almost certainly the last time. Unless they can persuade him to carry on, Bob Paisley is walking out of one of the great arenas of football, which he has done so much to lift with his team's performances and behaviour.
Oh, what a game, what drama and emotion, especially for Bob Paisley, Liverpool's manager, who's here with us this afternoon. Welcome, Bob. We'll be talking in a moment and listening to the views of those involved in that sensational 2 hours. Well, before that, let me deal briefly with the biggest talking point of the afternoon, the Grobbelaar-McQueen incident, when a number of hearts stopped beating, perhaps including referee George Courtney. Would Grobbelaar go or not? The victim, Gordon McQueen, had his own idea about it all.
Well, when I was running to it, I seen Bruce coming towards me, and I didn't know whether to just hook it towards the empty net or stick it around one side. And I did. I stuck it around one side, but it was a bit of both. I mean, I sort of threw myself at him, and he threw himself at me, so I wouldn't attach any blame to Bruce Grobbelaar there. And I'm glad the referee never sent him off or done anything like that.
Well, that was the most generous view from Gordon McQueen, and some may feel referee George Courtney was equally generous, but he had his wits about him, applied the new law interpretation to the letter, added a dash of opinion, and reached not so much a compromise, but a reasoned conclusion. Hopefully we can get this new camera angle here, which shows quite clearly that Grobbelaar's assault was premeditated. Hence the name take, but the referee's judgment that it was not a clear goal-scoring possibility allowed Grobbelaar to finish the match. Well, I still belong to those who believe that the punishment doesn't fit the crime, but FIFA's seeming determination not to touch a full stop in the laws, however they're abused, will one day be condemned by history. Well, now back to the game itself, and those who wrote their own little bit of history yesterday. First, the goal scorers.
Well, someone chipped it in and I chested it, and I was thinking of playing it down the line, the Frank, I think it was, and then I just turned, and it wasn't on my best foot, so I just concentrated on hitting the target, and I was quite pleased about that.
The boss before the game had said, you know, test the goalkeeper out, you know, and have a few shots on goal, and first half I had one or two which one hit the goal, which was, you know, a bit unusual, and one went wide. And then the second half just came to me perfectly, and I just hit it. And I'll be honest, I think it may have taken the deflection, but I think Gary Bailey was a little bit late in seeing it, and you know, just went past him in the far post.
Tried to play it through to someone. I seen someone running through. Tried to put it through Frank Stapleton's legs, but it came back off him, and I just decided to hit it. Well, cut it. I went to the back on it, so I couldn't.
You see, you make it sound very simple, but you just hinted there at what you did. You said you cut it, but you did. I mean, you moved that ball a long way.
Yeah, well, I meant it to go where it went, and it was nice that it did go in.
It's been a difficult season for you, Ronnie, hasn't it, with injuries, and you must have thought there was a time when you weren't even going to see this.
I know, yeah. When I was out of the team, I was out of the team for a good while. I've had 3 or 4 injuries this season. Hopefully now they're all behind me.
You've been at United a short time, really, Ron. It's a disappointment in so much that here you are at Wembley for a first trophy, which hasn't come your way. Of course, there is still a chance. The FA Cup looms.
Yeah, that's for sure. We want to come back here in May and swamp the place.
And do you think that will happen?
I wouldn't bet against it, Bob.
And I remember talking to you just a few weeks ago when I suggested that Liverpool knew that United were getting very close. Do you feel that as a result of this defeat, in that ironic way, that you have learned and that you will perhaps be even closer?
Time will tell that. If we'd have beaten them today, I don't think it would have affected that situation at all. I think there's not too much between the teams. They've got the knowledge at this moment in time of winning games or winning trophies.
And a word about Mr. Robert Paisley.
Aye, it was, you know, if any, you know, the one thing is, if you're going to get beat by anybody, at least, you know, you get beat by him. I mean, he's the man.
I think that one of the things that the whole of Wembley Stadium and probably the nation were fascinated in and appreciated was the gesture of Bob Paisley going up to receive that trophy instead of you. Now, how and why did that come about?
No, it was just spontaneous, really. I mean, I suppose it's fitting, really. I mean, that's all I can say. It was just on the spur of the moment. He's never done that. He missed out, you know, as you know, when he was a player. He played in the semi-final, scored a goal, didn't play in the final. So I think it was his one and only time up the stairs. So it's his last year, his last game at Wembley. So I thought it was right.
It was you that made that decision?
Yeah. Well, you know, I didn't think about it before the game because, you know, you're always thinking, well, we're going to lose. If we happen to win, and I still remember it at the time, we'll go ahead with it. Unfortunately, you know, it worked out that way for us.
Did it take much persuading?
Not really. I think he was sort of nudging that way anyway. He'll have a go at me for saying that, but I think he was nudging that way anyway. But it doesn't matter who goes up first, does it?
Bob, the truth of the matter, are you going to fine him for that?
No, I'll not fine him, because really I don't think he could have the strength to carry it.
You were the only one left in the party. Yeah.
On the field, I think, what came off the field.
It's not the first time, actually, that Wembley's taken its toll of fitness. Again, yesterday, you seemed to be the team lasting out and winning as a result of it.
Yeah, I thought the conditions was very heavy there, very deceptive, and I think you'll find that most of the United injuries was down nearly to cramp and that. And,
yes.
The ground was very heavy, and I think that's in need of surgery. I've been going to Wembley now for the last 9 years regular, but I think now the ground's getting ready for that surgery, which the club ground should have.
Could you advise on that next year, maybe,
Yeah,
if you had nothing else to do? What's your way of celebrating? I mean, what have you been doing since yesterday afternoon?
I've not been. I went out with a press friend, had a meal last night, and that's all. That quiet dinner, and in the hotel, and never went out. And I like to savour those moments. I like to be sober. I don't like to lose my senses in occasions like that, because same as the European Cup in Rome and that, that was an occasion I had to savour, and I wanted that. I wanted to have all my wits about me.
Judging by the number of times you've been in that position, you're not doing the Brewers much good, are you? Bob, what about the worrying moment, really, in that game where they thought they might have won it? Liverpool had a lot of the ball and couldn't get that equaliser. What did you feel then? Did you panic a little bit or say no?
Well, no, you accepted this part and parcel of football, because just lately, the last month or 3 weeks, things have just gone that. We've had possession and just not been able to clinch it. If you like, some term, the run of the ball's not being that way, which was running kind for us at the beginning of the season. Everything was going right for us, and now we've got into that period, you know.
It's turned again, so even Liverpool need the run of the ball. Could I just show you, actually, your record of wins in major competitions? It beats Arkle and Leicester Piggott. I know two of your favourites put together. They're League 5 championships, European Cup 3, Milk Cup 3, UEFA Cup 1, Super Cup 1, Charity Shield Ball 5.5, 6, and the League Championship will make it 6. If you do retire at the end of the season, would you rather go to Anfield in the morning, or would you rather go somewhere else to enjoy yourself?
I'd go to Anfield again.
Bob, it won't be the same if ever it is without you, and whether it's retirement or what it is, congratulations on today and the wonderful record. And may I say, really, on behalf of all the teams in the First Division, David, good luck for the Championship too in your last year.
Thank you. Thank you
much indeed. Well, don't leave yet, because there's still a very high-quality Goal of the Month competition coming up. But first, let's catch up on yesterday's Scottish action and the 6 goals from Dundee United versus Hibernian. Commentator